Yay, the kids are finally asleep.
So do you feel like...
Playing a game?
I've got a feeling a boss fight's coming up.
Ooh, I just got wrecked.
Headshot, baby.
Ooh, it's your turn to get the baby.
So are you up to the challenge?
Run, 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 run.
And we're dead.
That's when I realized I have no idea what I'm doing.
GG.
Hey, 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 look who's here. It's the gamers, it's the parents, and you're back on another episode of the Game of Parents podcast. This is episode 65. My name is Joanne, and I'm joined by my wonderful and amazing husband, Kevin.
Hello. You are really changing up the script this week.
Oh yeah. If this is your first time here, Kevin and I, we are gamers and parents of two kids, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And before we begin, let's kick it off with Kevin. How has your week been going?
Yeah, so our week, really our whole month has kind of been a weird one. Like we mentioned in prior episodes, kids were sick a little bit, and that kind of made things rough. Also, sleeping habits have kind of been disrupted.
Very much disrupted.
And I feel like our 2-year-old has gained a habit of, if she doesn't fall asleep right away at night, she'll just get up and come out of her room and come find us. Mm-hmm. Which usually most nights ends up being 3, 4, 5 times of putting her back to bed.
Yep.
Which can last over the course of like an extra hour longer than it should.
Yep. So just a tip for parents out there. If you only have one child and you think that there is no excuse for the kids to have a toddler rail just yet, keep them in the crib for as long as you can. For hours, because we have two, she was like getting into the habit of climbing over the rail because she's watching her older brother do it. And that's why we had to switch it up earlier. I think it's actually a year earlier, right?
Almost, something like that.
Yeah, than our first kid. So that's just a tip for you guys.
Yeah, just something to obviously be prepared for. And something that kind of cut into our after the kids are asleep time and sometimes our own sleep. Mm-hmm. But speaking of the kids being sick at some points during the month, we did a few things to try to make them better.
Yes. So it's been 2 episodes that we have been talking about them being sick, right? So it's about 2 weeks. And this is the 3rd episode of them being sick.
Well, they're not really sick anymore,
yeah,
per se, but it's been a lot recently.
Mm-hmm. And that's like almost 3 weeks of taking turns getting sick.
They're really just like kind of cold symptom sick. Not really anything more than that.
Yeah, but because it disrupts our sleep and just the lack of rest and the lack of gaming kind of brought me to a more desperate
measures.
Yes, like all of that got me into taking some desperate countermeasures. And I kind of like want to bring this topic of discussion up with Kevin today. Is about modern medicine versus cultural remedies. So Kevin, when you were growing up and you were sick, what do you normally do? I mean, what do your parents do for you?
Obviously, there is medication, whatever the doctor has prescribed, pretty much. Chicken noodle soup, 7-Up, and lots of rest.
7-Up?
Yeah,
really?
7-Up.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember why, but that was always a thing. I actually might look that up later. But yeah, obviously, yeah, Gatorade.
Yeah.
Anything with electrolytes, lots of water. And yeah, main thing is lots of sleep, not staying up late, going to sleep early.
Yep.
To get better as quickly as possible. But that was pretty much it.
Okay, yeah. So we did that, right? We did that.
Yes, we did most of that.
Most of that. We didn't do 7-Up.
We did Gatorade. I think that's probably even better. Like I would think they don't drink soda. So.
Yeah, true that.
What about you?
So for me, normally when someone gets sick at home, we would cut onions and have cut onions placed in the room. Within the house itself. So the theory was like these cut onions would actually absorb all the germs and the viruses, whatever that's bothering. So yeah, with 2 weeks of
2 weeks of kids being a little bit sick.
yeah, I decided to buy 3 pounds of onions
I thought we were making burgers.
and cut them up and put it into each and every room. Anything. It's not hurting them. It smells good.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah, true. Depends who you ask. And
Made us cry a little more than we normally would have.
exactly. Maybe that's why I cried while watching Naruto. Anyways, yeah. So this is what desperation got me doing. And another most interesting thing that we do was to boil a hard-boiled egg. And then while it's hot, you wrap it up in a washcloth or something. And then you wrap it over the body of the person who has the fever or cold.
Mm-hmm. If I'm ever sick, I opt out of this one. Okay, you don't need to do this one on me, no matter how desperate you are.
I thought I did it on you once.
I don't think so. I don't think I would have went for that. But I know our 4-year-old is not a fan of that one.
Yeah.
Because he says it smells. Yeah. Which he's probably not wrong.
Well, that was because I messed up. I think so I wasn't sure. I didn't really remember exactly how it was done on me. So I peeled the hard-boiled egg. And I guess I should have left the shell on so it wouldn't smell. But
okay.
Yeah.
And what's the theory behind that one? Do we know?
So the theory behind that was that it opened the pores on the skin, and through those open pores, that heat in your body that's trapped in your body would come out like chakra.
Okay.
So yeah, we did that, and now our 4-year-old is really not a fan of hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, he's gonna be scarred of the smell of hard-boiled eggs.
Or anything that looks like hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, even now we were like, do we need to put more egg on you? And he was like, no.
Anything but eggs.
Yeah. But these are things obviously that were very new and foreign for me.
Yeah.
And obviously I still don't necessarily believe them, but I kind of more or less just kind of turn a blind eye of, whenever I walk in the room and there's a plate of onions, perfectly good onions going to waste, or
if you see hard-boiled egg on the stove.
Yeah, or you chasing our son around with an egg. Just kind of let you do your thing.
Yeah, it's not an instead of the modern medicine.
Of course,
but the funny thing is, I actually Google about the onions, and apparently, the National Onion Association mentioned that was actually something that people in the past, I think in the early 1900s, did during the bubonic plague or some kind of flu back then.
Uh-huh.
And that's what they were recommended to do. And I guess through words of mouth and traditions, it got passed down, and it even reached all the way to Asia. It's interesting.
Is this a thing that like everybody knew in Asia, or is this like just your family thing?
No, it's a lot of people knew. It's not just my family.
But like in COVID, probably like egg sales skyrocketed.
Yeah, probably. And onions.
And onions, yeah.
Here they lost like toilet paper, and then back there we lost onions.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was an interesting turn of events. But the good news is our son got well and everyone recovered thanks to both.
Thanks to something. We'll just leave it at that.
Thanks to something. Yeah.
Thanks to God. Yeah.
Yes. And we brought him back to school earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back home from school with a fever and a pain in the abdomen.
And a tummy ache.
Yeah.
Saying his stomach hurt. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then was it the next day that you took him to see his doctor? The next morning, I think?
Mm-hmm. His pediatrician.
And I wasn't there for it, but the pediatricians had a hunch that it may have been his appendix.
Well, she didn't say it was his appendix. She just said like it could range from a mild stomach bug to like worst case scenario appendicitis, because it's sudden that spike of temperature. He was like 102.6, right? And his abdominal area was like kind of tender to touch and just hurting. So, it's like very difficult as parents to figure out what's wrong with our kids, because number one, when they're babies, they just cry. And then when they're toddlers, they just can't verbalize it or quantify the magnitude of the pain, right?
Yeah, they can't really explain things very well.
They can
and
just...
you almost kind of have to go off of their reactions, right?
Exactly.
If they're just saying it hurts versus if they're crying in pain, right? That's obviously a big difference.
Yeah. And our son also happened to be like the kind that could bring tears to his eyes, like within seconds.
When the imaginary chocolate milk is all gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an inside joke over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he can kind of make himself cry.
And it's not because of the cut onions, that's for sure.
Yeah. And who knows, it might be. They were around during all this, so.
Yeah, that's funny. Anywho's, we didn't want to take it lightly. I mean, like, if they're old enough, then it's easier to shrug it off, But at that age where they can't really verbalize it, I'm just afraid. I mean, if you're a parent, you understand. Like, what if I turn a blind eye on it and then, I'm just thinking worst case scenarios, the appendix ruptured or, all that comes into my mind. And I can't live with myself for ignoring his cries and stuff like that. So yeah, I panicked when the doctor mentioned the range. Of course, we tend to go towards the worst case scenario. And she just said, like, just go from his actions. If he's crying and he can't do much, like, that's when you need to go to the emergency room, right? So that same night, he started like, having trouble sleeping from the pain, to the point where when he goes to the bathroom, he's like, I can't look down, I can't look up because my tummy hurts. And I'm like just thinking like, okay, this seems serious if you can't even move your head up or down because of your tummy. And that means it has to be serious. I asked him, like, can you touch your toes? And he's like, no, I can't reach. I can't bend my body to touch my toes. So this was when I told Kevin, we got to go. We got to go to the emergency room right now. So that was around midnight, right?
Yeah. So he was asleep for probably a good 2.5 hours before that. And then he woke up, had to go to the bathroom. And that's, when all that happened, what you just went through. But yeah, I think it was around midnight or so when we kind of made the decision that we should go in.
Yep.
So we had one of their grandparents come over to watch the 2-year-old so we could take our son to the emergency room. And I think we got there by 1 a.m.?
Yeah.
And waited in the waiting room for maybe... Actually, we weren't there for too long before at least like a nurse got to see us and got to do a checkup on Dylan.
Yep.
And she asked him to do some things.
Such as hop like a bunny.
Which he did splendidly.
Yeah.
With no issues. He did some karate kicks for the nurse, showing off his ninja skills.
Probably saw that from Naruto.
Then he also touched his toes in there as well.
Yep. Suddenly, he could touch his toes.
Yes, which was good. He was able, wasn't having any pain or anything, but it was nothing really like what it was when, an hour before when we were at home. It was also when we were at home right after he had woken up. So I noticed when he's sleepy or tired or that sort of thing, he's kind of, I don't think over dramatic is the right term, but he has a hard time being happy or positive about things when he's not in the mood for it.
He sees the world in red.
Yeah, and I think so when we were at the hospital, he kind of had that, oh, where are we? Adrenaline kind of going on, that he felt good about everything and he could suddenly do everything.
Yep. And when we finally did, get to see the doctor, it was
4 a.m.?
4 a.m., yeah. So it was a 3-hour wait in the waiting room at first. And I think part of it is because, he was in such high spirits when he met the nurse that, they know not to prioritize. Because I saw some people who came in later than us got treated first because they seemed like they were in worse shape.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but it was just funny how he was on his adrenaline rush, like you mentioned, and he was awake the entire time.
Yeah, so I mean, remember, we have normal schedules where, we are normally asleep at night during these hours. I mean, yeah, so we didn't get to see the doctor till like after 4 a.m. We are normally like asleep for like a good 5-6 hours before this.
Yeah.
So we were really tired, really exhausted.
Especially you, because I took a nap the day before.
True. No, that day. No, yeah, technically the day before, because we're talking about after midnight.
Yeah, and then you were working like starting from early morning till... Yeah, so it was harder on you, that's for sure. You were awake for over 24 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was in high spirits, he was awake. We didn't get home till 6. So what happened at the hospital... I'll let you talk more about the test then.
Yeah, they did an ultrasound on him. Yes, a urine test. And they did a swab test for like stomach viruses and COVID and flu and all that stuff. And everything came back negative. The ultrasound, everything looked fine. They were checking his appendix basically. The technician did say that it seemed like there was like some gas in his stomach or in that area.
Yep.
So maybe that's kind of where he feels some of the pain. Good news is it's not appendicitis.
Yep.
It wasn't any kind of virus or bug or anything. So we think we just need to give him like a higher fiber diet.
And also, the entire time that he was at the hospital, his temperature was 97.7. Like, I don't know what happened to the other 5 degree. It was definitely way better, normal.
I think it's amazing like what our body can do with the chemicals that it can make, and even like adrenaline or that kind of thing. The same thing like when you have like a really big day of, either work or school or just anything in life, and like you don't really feel sick or get sick, but
or
then
sleepy.
like or sleepy, like you have way more energy.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Also the same kind of thing when feel like you're in danger, like you have way more like energy and focus.
Yeah.
And on all of that.
That's for sure. Yeah. So our son became pretty much like the guy in Limitless.
Yeah. And he was fine. He was like still awake. He never like napped or like wanted to go to sleep, or like he never wanted to go home.
Yeah, he was watching Bluey the entire time.
He was watching cartoons on TV for like most of the time in the waiting room and when we got to his room.
Yeah.
But yeah, then so everything turned out to be nothing serious. So now we know that. We know it's nothing serious going on.
And that actually made me feel way better. Like, it's just good to know. I mean, yes, we were concerned, but we're just glad, right? That everything's okay. Yeah,
definitely glad that everything is okay. And that day coming back, we actually didn't get back till like closer to 7. And I'm supposed to work that day because this is the middle of the week.
Yeah, true.
So I texted my team and was like, I'm just getting home from the emergency room. Like, give me a couple of hours and I will be working.
Yeah, because you have a presentation that morning too, right? Around 11-ish.
So I have a meeting that I have a pretty big part of once a week, and that kind of just happened to be that day. And I, slept a couple hours before that, got up, got ready for that, and kind of just muscled my way through that, even though I was really dragging and really kind of running on just a couple of hours of sleep. And really, it took like a few days after that to even feel like I got caught up. I kind of feel like I got caught up now, and this all happened, I guess, really like almost 3 days ago. Yeah, 2 to 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, we can't really pull all-nighters anymore.
Yeah.
And be more or less unaffected.
Yeah.
A lot harder on our bodies. I think it's something about getting old, probably.
Yeah, that's for sure. Gone were the days where you could just game all night.
Yeah, just take a short nap like the next morning and then be good for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to do that here did not work out the same like how I remember it.
Our son seems to get a hang of it though, by being awake till almost 7 the next day. It was funny, like, weren't you telling me at the emergency room that he is a night owl?
Yeah, just like kind of watching him, like obviously he could have gone to sleep his normal bedtime, but he was just able to like stay awake and watch TV until like 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he's 4.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine him when he's in high school or college.
Yep. And he doesn't nap either. So it was amazing.
Yeah. But anyways, it was like a whirlwind of a week that lasted more than just that morning, and another thing, our 2-year-old was asleep that whole entire time. So even like while we were there, I turned to you and I was like, just remember that our 2-year-old Faith is still going to wake up like at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Like pretty much when we're getting home. So thankfully we had a lot of help from my parents with her, especially while we were gone, and that next morning so that we could go back and actually get some sleep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, with her up, it would have been like 0 sleep.
Yeah.
So that's more or less how at least a few days of our week went.
Yeah. It's all in a daze.
Which was rough. There was some good news in there that wasn't anything bad with Dylan happening. And then kind of outside of that, the rest of the week, we watched a lot of Naruto, as usual.
Yeah.
That's kind of been the thing the last few weeks. No movies.
Yeah.
Even some nights, instead of gaming, because we're down to just one computer, we'll just kind of watch that show together.
Yep.
And we are at the end of season 5.
Yep, we are.
And I think there's 8 or 9 seasons. So we're steadily making our way through.
Yeah, and it's just so much emotions going through. I'm so glad for it. Some of the episodes are straight up therapy, like I mentioned last week. So yeah, getting through this week I've been harder without Naruto.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
There's a character for everybody, and they kind of cover all of their bases in terms of all the different kinds of people.
And all the different kind of hurt.
Yeah, it's seriously be like, oh wow, this person reminds me of so-and-so in real life. And like, it's totally something like they would do or something like that.
True.
But it's so weird and foreign and like a really bizarre world, but at the same time, it's things that are so recognizable that we deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, that was a week in life. We pretty much shared that together.
Yeah, that was kind of all the same. We're talking about gaming now?
Yeah, let's go.
So I'll start. And this isn't video gaming, but it's kind of gaming. But this was after the whole emergency room experience. Dylan and I were just hanging out, and he really wanted to play Giant Uno. So it's basically Uno, except the cards are enormous. Yeah. I don't know the point of Giant Uno.
It's kind of like giant Jenga.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, instead of being normal sized cards, they are maybe like half a foot tall.
Yeah, go big or go
huge.
home.
And like, you can't even shuffle these. They're so huge. Like, I don't know how anyone could shuffle this deck of cards. That was probably the biggest challenge. And everything else was exactly the same. They just were giant Uno cards. They all looked like the regular old Uno cards. And when we played together, instead of like, it's kind of hard for him to hold all of the cards because they're so huge and his hands are small.
Yeah.
So we'll just like play with the cards laid out on the table so we can like see everything. Although I'm pretty sure he's not strategizing that much around what cards he can see that I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we played some Uno in a very different and unique way. That was fun.
It was really fun. I'm proud of him for his sportsmanship.
Yeah. That's something that his sportsmanship is something that I always try to work with him on, that he really hates losing.
Yeah, he's very competitive, that's for sure.
He's super competitive.
Everything is a competition. I was giving the kids ice cream with sprinkles the other day, and he was saying, my ice cream has more sprinkles, right, than Fave's? So I won. And I'm like, it's not a competition. I think I put equal sprinkles. I'm not sure. I did not count, but it's the same. Then he's like, no, I win.
Yeah. Or, you know, if the kids need to put their socks on or something like that, we'll be like, all right, go grab your socks, go put them on. And like, he'll run there and like race his little sister and try to put his socks on before she can get her socks on.
Yeah.
And just he makes everything a race or a competition.
Yeah. And I'm like, was it a competition?
And if he thinks he lost, then he'll get kind of upset and he'll be like, I like winning. So I'm just always trying to tell him, like, it's okay to not win everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where he got that from, but I know I was pretty competitive in my younger days.
Yeah. So we're trying to calm him down a little bit.
Yeah.
Around that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's no necessity for emotional damage.
Yeah, but also in gaming this week, I know we kind of went on a tangent there from Uno, but there has been a lot of Marvel Snap from both of us.
Yeah.
I do see you playing it a little bit, which is cool because it's a game that I love.
Mm-hmm. We got to duel once.
We did the friendly battles, which was a first for both of us. Like, one duel or whatever, which is you basically play against each other until one person loses enough times.
Yeah, it's like a 5-round thing.
Yeah, and I tried to use one of my least powerful decks because it wouldn't really be fair because you don't have. I still used a lot of cards you don't even have yet.
Yes,
so it was still probably unfair. But yeah, I could probably make like something specific and like a weaker deck to more that's like a starter one. But it was fun. We got to play against each other. There's a few good matches in there. You took a W a few times.
Yeah, and there were times where my scores were really close to you, like just by a couple points away, even though I lost. But I was proud of myself in that sense.
Yeah, you did good, and I didn't pull any punches. I played kind of like how I normally would.
Yeah,
I didn't like skip turns for no reason. I kind of went all out for whatever I could.
Yeah,
and you did really good.
Thank you. It was fun. It's definitely interesting to fight someone who has different set of cards, because I think right now all my opponents are kind of like in the same stage as I am, because I always see like the similar kind of cards, and it's just cool to see other sets available. And
yeah, it's not really until like way later when you're playing against people and they could really have anything.
Yeah.
And it's fun because you don't really know what you're going to come across.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're in the same place as everybody else, everyone has the same cards and it feels kind of stale.
Yeah, another thing I noticed now as we progress through the game, I do realize like you get used to the locations and you kind of like can build a deck that is suitable for certain types of strategies, such as like discard deck or moving deck, movement deck, whatever you call it. There are decks that are specifically intended for like power ups.
Yeah, there's destroy, there's move, there's discard, there's all kinds of stuff. Patriot decks.
It's just interesting because now I start to see more and more people trying to make those kind of strategy, with whatever cards they have. So yeah, I'm kind of like pretty much learning.
You have a favorite card yet?
Yes. Like right now, Gamora is my to-go card for winning. What do you call it? The trump card?
Gamora's not a bad card at all. I still use her in some of my decks, especially if you can strategize and figure out where your opponent's going to play a card next. Then you can, get 12 power for 5 energy. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I like it. I mean, between Gamora and Odin. So if
Odin's a lot of fun too, depending on
how many on
cards
reveals
you use with them. Yeah.
So these two are like currently my go-to cards that I would not remove from my current deck.
Very cool. So what else have you been playing this week besides Marvel Snap?
Same old puzzles and Survivor Resident Evil collaboration.
Anything changed with you on that one?
Yes, I am currently level 22 commander, which is getting closer to those higher up people in the level 30. They are more active this week in attacking other sanctuaries and guilds. So that's exciting. I got to be part of that. I guess you have to be like strong enough to like start attacking other people, And then last Tuesday, this is before our son got sick and all that. So last Tuesday, we actually managed to stream me playing a horror game, which is actually the community goal that we have set up like a couple months ago. But yeah, we picked the Mortuary Assistant.
Yep.
And at first it was kind of fun, during the tutorial, it's daytime. I mean, still, so you're a mortuary assistant, like the title, and then you embalm bodies and stuff. So it starts like a tutorial, and that was during the daytime, but still, there's like jump scares and weird things happening. Not as much, but still did. And then you kind of feel like, okay, this is fun at first, and then it takes a morbid turn. and at one point, like 1 hour into the stream, I told Kevin, like, please come in here and be with me, because I kind of got goosebumps, and I start to feel the chill coming down my spine. It just gets more creepy. And yeah, I am not going to give any spoilers, but apparently, like, there are 3 bodies, and then there's a demon that is bound to one of the bodies, and you have to figure out which body it's in. But there's sigils around the mortuary that you have to figure out where they are, and at the same time figure out the name of the demon through the sigils. And then you have to mark the body that you think has the demon and then burn it, so that would banish the demon. And it was really hard to play because, you're trying to get the bodies embalmed ASAP, and just crazy things are happening around you, and you feel like you're losing your mind. At one point, like towards the end, I was already like, screw this. I'm just going to pick one body. I'm not even going to try and figure it out, because number 1, it was getting late. And number 2, I was freaked out because lights are turning on and off, and I'm afraid of the dark, even though I know it's just a game.
Yeah, they do a really good job at kind of making you just want to like not move in the game.
Yes.
Right? Because like they'll turn off the lights, and kind of the same way like in real life. I remember like as a kid when I was afraid, like in my room or something, like I would just like stay still or like don't move kind of thing, right? Like,
yeah.
Or like don't turn around because something might be behind you, right?
Yeah. And
versus like it's almost easier not to look
exactly
than to like look and and try to advance forward in the story or whatever your objectives are.
Yeah.
And like it's just the fear of it like slows you down.
It does. Like even going past the bathroom mirror, I would try not to look at the mirrors, because when I did, I've always seen like something staring back at me.
I remember even at that time, like the thing you were looking for was like right below the mirror.
Yeah, like so, the like, purpose.
You had to look there kind of to get the information that you needed, but like you kept missing it because you were trying not to look at the mirror.
Exactly. I was just trying to run away and try and look at it from as far as I can. And at some point, I actually like jump out of my seat and have my headphones all fall over because of the jump scares. It was crazy. I didn't think I was a person that could get easily scared, but yeah, that was super creepy. And we did get the best possible ending out of luck, pure luck, because I was already so done with the game. There are endings where it's like game over, you get possessed, or I don't know, there are 5 different endings. I only got 1. I was ready to lose the game, but I burned the right body, so that was lucky for me. But I will still be playing it. Not sure if I would stream it again, but I would definitely still play it to see the other endings. And it's the kind of game that kind of scares you even after you play the game, because then when I go use the bathroom at night, I would not look into the mirror.
Really? I didn't know this part.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you're into horror games, definitely check this out. It's called the Mortuary Assistant. And I think it was like voted one of the most scary games in 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I don't really like being scared. I don't know if I would ever really enjoy those games, but I don't know.
There were so many times I kept asking Kevin next to me to like, you move for me. I don't want to look at the screen.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and he wouldn't do it. He was like, nope, this is your game. You got to do it. And I'm like, no. And
this is what you wanted, not me.
I would actually cover my eyes and do it and like, peep through my fingers.
Yeah, there was one time you just like covered your eyes and just ran through the hallway.
Yeah.
And like all these scary things were happening that I was watching just because I
But you can
wasn't
hear
at
them.
the controls. True, it was not nearly as scary for me, but I was just like watching you run through and all these crazy things happening, but you being totally oblivious because you were closing your eyes.
Yeah, no, I actually peeped through my fingers, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to see clips of those, definitely check them out.
Yep, so that was over. Everything was on Twitch. So it's on our Twitch channel, which we'll talk about shortly.
Yep, but that's it for all the games that I played this week before we started going to the emergency room and everything.
Yeah, for me, for this week in gaming, really the only thing other than Marvel Snap was Returnal. And I think I only played it once or twice this week. There wasn't a whole lot of gaming.
Yeah, and that was also before...
Yeah, that was before all the crazy hecticness at the hospital. And in Returnal, I'm still kind of stuck on that third boss, which is crazy. And it's a fun fight, and I'm still enjoying it. I'm kind of still enjoying getting there. I know I'm the kind where if I get stuck and I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again to no avail, like I will lose my motivation and interest in pushing forward. So as long as I beat that boss, like probably sometime in the next couple of weeks, I'll be okay. But if I just kind of keep banging my head against that same boss over and over again, then I might give up hope. So I don't know.
This is the life of gamer parents when you only have 2 hours a night to play it. So
yeah, it's not that often that I don't finish a game because of its difficulty. I mean, look at God of War. I finished that on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
I didn't give up, even though I really wanted to at times. So I don't think I'll give up on this one. I mean, Returnal overall doesn't seem like that long of a game.
Yeah, it's just longer because
you're just retrying.
Yeah,
like you're restarting constantly. So I don't know. I think I'll still probably finish it, but
we'll see.
Yeah, I just need to try harder. But I think that's it for life and games for us.
Yep.
I know it was kind of a longer update this week on everything that's going on. But I guess we can run through new game releases. That would be next.
Let's go.
All right. So we have After Image on all consoles and PC. Strayed Lights on all consoles and PC. Desta, The Memories Between on Switch and PC. The Centennial Case, a Shijima story on iOS and Android. Bramble, The Mountain King on all consoles and PC. Kizuna AI, Touch the Beat on PS4, Switch, PSVR, and PC. Lego Brick Tales on iOS and Android. Live Alive, I don't know which one that is, on PS5, PS4, and PC. Omega Strikers on Switch. The Last Case of Benedict Fox on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, and Xbox One. And lastly, Star Wars Jedi Survivor on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC.
That's a lot. I get exhausted just listening to all of that.
Any of those interest you?
Not really. What about you?
I know I've seen some of Omega Strikers before, and I don't know if it was pre-release or what, or if it's just new to the Switch. But the game looked kind of fun. It was interesting. You kind of pick like a specific player, and it's almost like you're playing, like it's almost like soccer-ish, and then each character has like your different like abilities and stuff to like either defend or push the ball towards the enemy's goal.
Okay.
It looked pretty fun. I wouldn't mind trying that out if we ever got a good deal on it. But that's pretty much it out of those, for me at least.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a lot of people like streaming Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but I'm not really a Star Wars fan, so...
Yeah, I mean, besides like the Star Wars Battlefront games, I've never really been into any other Star Wars games. And even then, the Battlefront games were fun, but they weren't like my most favorite.
All right. And new on Game Pass this week is Cassette Beasts on PC, Quantum Break on console and PC, Blast Blue Cross Tag Battle Special Edition on console, PC, and cloud, and The Last Case of Benedict Fox on console and PC, and that is a day one release.
Very nice. Cross tag battle kind of sounded cool to me. I don't know what that is. I imagine it's some like crazy intense version of tag.
Or it could be like Tag with Ryan.
Yes, that's what I thought of too. Well, that's it for what's new this week. Why don't we share where everyone can find us on all of our social media? As we mentioned, we stream on Twitch every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is over at twitch.tv/gamerparentspod. Or you can find us over on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Gamer Parents Podcast. Or over on Twitter at twitter.com/gamerparentspod.
Or over at Instagram at gamer_parents_podcast.
If you could give us a like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is, wherever it is, we would greatly appreciate it. It would be a huge favor to us. If anybody wanted to give us an Apple Podcast review, that would be amazing. The best place to come and hang out with us would definitely be the Discord channel. Link for that is in the podcast episode description. We are in there every day talking about all kinds of different things. We're also usually in the voice chats most nights, although not as much lately with Joanne's computer not working.
Yeah.
But still a good place to come and hang out with other gamer parents.
Yes.
But that wraps up episode number 65. And that is all that we have for you guys this time. We will catch you in the next one.
Bye.